Okay, so now we are going to make questions. First, we're going to start with the answers that we made for this worksheet. And as I mentioned, questions are always important because it helps us to understand conversations, and especially these kinds of before and after questions. It's pretty common. So let's look at this first sentence. Before I go to Paris, I'll learn French. So we usually include the before clause in the question. So what will you do before you go to Paris? Okay, so as you can see, the answer is going to be the main clause. I'll learn French. Okay, what will you do? I'll learn French. But we have to include the before clause. So what will you do before you go to Paris? I'll learn French. Okay, now let's look at this sentence. After I learn French, I'll go to Paris. So this question is going to be a little bit different because the main clause is now different. So we have to say, what will you do? Okay, so this part's the same. What will you do? But now we include the after clause. After you learn French. Okay, oops. So the answer this time is I'll go to Paris after I learn French. Okay, so take some time to do numbers 2 through 6 and make questions for each sentence. So do a question for this one and also do a question for this one because the answers will be different since you have to use a different clause after or before. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and continue when you are finished. Okay, so let's look at this one. Luis and Paolo will buy a street map after they check into their hotel. So I made the font smaller so it'll fit. We can say, what will Luis and Paolo do? Sorry, that should be capital because it's a name. Do after they check into their hotel. Okay, and then this one, what will, let me just copy this, see if I can copy this because it's faster. Okay, what will Luis and Paolo do before they buy a street map? Okay, so if you look at these two questions, for this one, the short answer is they will buy a street map. Okay, what will they do after they check into their hotel? They will buy a street map. Now for this one, what will Luis and Paolo do before they buy a street map? The short answer is they will check into their hotel. Okay, and then number 3, let's make a question. Okay, so we can say, what will Alicia do before she goes on vacation? Okay, and the short answer is she will visit her cousins in Florida. Okay, and then the next one is, what will Alicia do after she visits her cousins in Florida? Okay, and the short answer is she will go on vacation. Okay, number 4, what will you, because this is we, so you have to say you plural, okay? What will you do before you have lunch? Okay, and the short answer is we will take the city tour. And then the next one, what will you do after you take the city tour? Okay, and the short answer is we will have lunch. Okay, number 5. What will Sam and Cindy do after they eat dinner? Okay, now if you remember from before, I talked about using have or eat with food. So have lunch or eat lunch. And same here, you can say eat dinner or have dinner. Okay, so what will Sam and Cindy do after they eat dinner? The short answer is they will go to a dance club. And then the next one, what will Sam, forgot the L, and Cindy do before they go to a dance club? Okay, the short answer is they will eat dinner. Finally, Omar, okay, so what will Omar do before he watches a movie? Okay, and the short answer is he will finish packing his suitcase. And then finally, the last one, what will Omar do after he finishes packing his suitcase? Okay, and the answer is he will watch a movie. Okay, I know that's a lot, but it's helpful to keep practicing these kinds of things. And then, now, so we can practice more, I want you to go ahead and open your student's book again to page 126. Okay, so we already did this page. If you remember, this is the beginning of our lesson, lesson C. But I want you to make questions for exercise 2, okay, practice. So I want you to make a question, but you don't have to do the 2 questions that we did for the worksheet. You can just make a question using whatever clause is in the sentence. So in this case, you can just use before in the question. And in this case, you can use after in the question. And let me make a comment. You can also put the before and after clause in the front or the back for a question. So let's look at number 1 together. So we can say, what will Kara do before she books a flight? Okay, so we need to include the before clause. What will Kara do before she books a flight? Now, look at number 2. Before Cynthia leaves for Puerto Rico, she will buy some new clothes. In this case, the before clause is in the beginning. And you can also put the before clause in the beginning in a question. You can say, before Cynthia leaves for Puerto Rico, what will she do? So as you can see, that's fine as well. You can start with the before clause. But it's up to you. You don't have to do that. You can just always start with what will she do? What will he do? It's a little easier to remember that way. Okay, so anyway, go ahead and take some time to finish these questions. Okay, so you can pause the video and continue when you're finished. Okay, so let's look at number 3 since we already did these 2 together. So Donald will take a taxi to the hotel after he picks up his baggage. So let me show my notes. And we can say, what will Donald do after he picks up his baggage? Okay. And then number 4, the campers will make a fire before they cook their dinner. Okay. What will the campers do before they cook their dinner? Okay, what will the campers do before they cook their dinner? Okay, and then number 5, after they finish eating, they will clean up the campsite. So we can say, what will they do after they finish eating? And just a quick note, when we use finish, we normally use a gerund afterwards. As I mentioned, we've actually practiced this, or you should know this because we learned this in a previous unit. After finish, it's common to use a gerund. Okay, finish eating, finish doing homework, finish watching TV. Okay, so with the ing ending, so don't forget that. Okay, and then number 6, I will call you after I return from my trip. Okay, so what will you do after you return from your trip? Okay, and then number 7, after I get my passport, I will make the reservations. Okay, what will you do? Oops, I'm sorry, number 7. What will you do after you get your passport? Okay. And then number 8, before we go to Mexico, we will learn some words in Spanish. Oops, sorry, wrong button. Okay, what will you do before you go to Mexico? Okay, so this time it's you plural, but you know, whether it's singular or plural, it's the same you. Okay, so what will you do? Before we go to Mexico, we will learn some words in Spanish. Okay, number 9. Jack will lock the doors before he leaves for the airport. Okay, so let's see. What will Jack do before he leaves for the airport? Okay, and then finally, number 10, Maria will print her boarding pass before she goes to the airport. So, what will Maria do before she goes to the airport? Okay, so I hope that was pretty easy since we practiced a lot. Now, I want to make a quick note for numbers 9 and 10. So, I just want to show you this phrase, leaves for, and then here goes to. So when we use the word leave, we don't really say leave to the airport. We say leave for the airport. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And then when we say go, you should already know this, but when we say go, we say go to. So goes to, go to. Okay. And then when we use leave, we say leave for or leaves for. Okay. So leaves for the airport, goes to the airport. Okay, the meaning is actually the same, but just to keep that in mind, that those phrases, leave for, go to. Okay, now you might have noticed that we only did one lesson for this video set. We just did lesson C because there was a lot of information and a lot of things that we needed to learn and focus on for this lesson. It's pretty important because it's very common to use clauses with before and after. And I also know that before and after clauses are confusing for a lot of people. So I wanted to take this lesson slowly and just focus on one lesson. So our next lesson will be lessons D and E instead of E and F, because normally we do A, B, C, D, E, F, but we just did lesson C this time, and then next time we're going to do D and E. This is our last unit, as you know, so I might take it a little bit slowly because we have a couple of weeks left before the end of the semester. So anyway. I will see you for lessons D and E next time. Okay?